it's just such a, in some ways, it's such a niche argument, but it's kind of blown up. I mean, Kneecap must be absolutely over the moon, you know, with all this publicity.
I think, like, back to your original point, Chris, like, I think it's a bit rich of John Swinney to say what he said today, given that he did wade in and kind of say, oh, yes, they should be banned, which was a pretty naive thing to do in the first place. But now he's being asked to sort of justify his original response and expand on it. And now suddenly he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, as First Minister, he is going to get asked about all kinds of things going on in the wider world that he personally probably doesn't have that much of a view on. But I do think, you know, it's always a risk when senior politicians get asked about bans. I mean, we all remember the infamous Gordon Brown quote about the Arctic monkeys, which Brown may not have ever actually said, but people do now remember him for it. But I think on the Transmit stuff, I mean, John Swinney had a clear get out when he could have just said, this is an issue for, number one, the promoters, and number two, an issue for the police who advise, the council who work with the promoters. He didn't have to give a view, but he chose to give a view.
I think maybe the problem with that at the time was there was the stuff about the, you know, kill your MP.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of made it, you know, maybe
but you can condemn that without saying they should be banned from a particular gig.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, actually. I personally don't think... I don't agree with banning. I just think it's a silly thing to do.
I don't think that. I mean, I think it's important to note, though, that, you know, they're not banned. Not only are they not banned, but they take public taxpayer money, you know, from the UK government to kind of fund their activities, or have done in the past. They're not banned. They're not cancelled. It was just that Transmit decided a bit late in the day, maybe, that putting them on was probably risking, you know, maybe risking their licence, you know, because of the potential for, you know, clashes. That's why. But they're not banned. I mean, they played last night, so
no, but they were banned from Transmit.
I'm sure if they bought tickets, they'd be, you know, they'd be